Mosaic, welcome to our Selah service. Selah is a word that's found in the Bible, and it simply means to pause and to reflect and to remember the goodness of God. And that's exactly what we're going to do for the next few minutes together. Sometimes the Christmas holidays seem to arrive so suddenly, and then before we know it, we're engulfed in an entirely new year. We don't even know what happened. Although it can seem to happen so quickly, I believe this transition from one year to the next contains a God opportunity for each one of us. And I believe the best way that we can seize this God opportunity is to Selah. As the world rushes in to another new year, let's quiet ourselves. Let's pause and reflect. Let's attempt to set aside the distractions, even if just for a moment, and choose to remember God's goodness, to reflect on God's faithfulness, to dwell on the steadfast love that God has given again to each one of us in 2020. We'll begin with some songs that our own Mosaic family has written during this past year. And I'm so glad that you can join us together as we Selah.
Confusion settles in. I put my trust in Jesus, the only one that matters. And when my faith is lost and fear has gripped my heart, I have a place to rest. It's in your open arms. It's all for you, only you. With every stone you turn, you're making me holier. It's all for you, everything I lose, you're making me more like you. It's all for you. And oh, I'm prone to wander, looking for things to fill me. My searching has an end. When I find what I need in you, and oh, I'm prone to wander, looking for things to fill me. My searching has an end. When I find what I need in you, I turn to you. In every battle, in every season, in every trial, I turn to you. In every battle, in every season, in every trial, I turn to you. In every battle, in every season, in every trial, I turn to you. In every battle, in every season, in every trial, I turn to you. In every battle, in every season, in every trial, I turn to you. It's all for you, only you. With every stone you turn, you're making me holier. It's all for you, only you. With everything I lose, you're making me more like you. Oh, 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 and oh, my soul longs for you, it yearns for you, is drawn to you. And oh, my soul longs for you, it yearns for you, is drawn to you. And oh, my soul longs for you, it yearns for you, is drawn to you. And oh, my soul longs for you, it yearns for you, is drawn to you. And oh, my soul longs for you, it yearns for you, is drawn to you. And oh, my
peace that tells the raging seas to still. You are my strength, my great defender. You are the hope that always silences my fear. You silence every fear.
Darkness scatters is Jesus, King Jesus, the rock where my feet are planted, the word where I'm firmly standing, the light where my darkness scatters is Jesus, King Jesus, the rock where my feet are planted, the word where I'm firmly standing, the light where my darkness scatters is Jesus.
Jesus.
put my trust in you and you alone, God. So I will not fear and I won't be shaken, no, 'cause I know that you're a strong tower, that you're a strong tower. So I won't run away and I won't hide. I'll just stay here and rest by your side. You have saved me, and you have saved me, you have saved me. Your name is great, and your name is great, and you are worthy to be praised.
First Peter 5:6 says this. It says, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting your anxieties on him because he cares for you. I love the encouragement in this scripture for us to rightly humble ourselves. And one of the ways that we can best humble ourselves before the mighty hand of God is simply by pausing to remember the goodness of God, to actively choose to remember and to be thankful. There's so many things, no matter what is happening, there's always so many things to be thankful for. And then that invitation from the God of heaven and earth, the God who made you, the God who knows you, the God who is with you, this invitation for us to cast our anxieties right before his feet. God knows everything that's hard, everything that's holding you down, everything that feels too heavy to carry. He knows it, and he loves you so much. It says because he cares for you. You're invited. Right in the middle of humbling yourself before him, you're invited to cast all of your anxieties before him. And wow, do we need that invitation this year, at the end of 2020? I mean, of course, every year we have our own unique and personal challenges and life circumstances that are happening, and that was true for you this year as much as any year. But in 2020, on top of all the personal things, all of us were facing these massive challenges. We were facing, for one, just the racial upheaval in our nation and all of the pain and the questions and the heartache that brought. And then being in an election year and the divisiveness of the election in 2020 was just a huge and heavy rock that impacted all of us this year. And then, of course, the global pandemic, this COVID thing that everyone in the world has been facing and that every one of our lives has been really turned upside down by. In the middle of 2020, at the end of 2020, God's invitation for us is the same, to humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God, to remember that he is God and we are not. And in that place of humility, to then cast all of our anxieties before him. And as I think about this incredible year and all the challenges that it brought, and then I pause, I find so much of the goodness of God woven into this year. You know, in the middle of the economic challenges, I think about the fact that Mosaic was able to provide hundreds and hundreds of meals for people who needed meals this year through our mobile outreach team. I think about the truckloads of coats and gloves and hats and winter gear that we were able to provide for people that are living outside during this year right now. You know, I think about the COVID relief fund, the tens of thousands of dollars that God inspired Mosaic to give, and we were able to redistribute to people who were in real need this past year, to help them where they didn't know where else to go for help. It's so powerful in the middle of these challenging times to remember the ways that God really worked this past year. You know, I think about the spiritual depravity as well. In the middle of the loneliness and the emptiness that 2020 brought to so many people, we got to see God move in and through Mosaic. We saw dozens of people make first-time decisions to trust in Jesus and to get baptized this year. We got to be a part of a revival tour where we gathered together and really met with God. And we had prayer meetings before the election. We even had an ongoing online prayer meeting. It was every day at noon for months, 7 days a week. So many of us gathered together every day to pray for our church, to pray for our city, to pray for this nation. God met us in those places right in the middle of the challenge. I think about our challenges with just meeting together at all. We just couldn't meet this year in the way that we were so accustomed to meet before. And God opened the door for us to make videos and to have virtual gatherings and live online gatherings. And there were so many creative doors that were opened in ways that God afforded us to meet with Him and to meet together right in the middle of these challenges. God has been so faithful. God has been so good. God has been so steadfast. And of course, not just for our church as a whole, but for you and I as individuals. I really want to encourage you not to miss this opportunity as 2020 comes to a close, to consider personally how God has met you, to consider personally not just the bigness of the challenges, but how God has met you in those challenges, how God has provided for you, how His love has endured in this season. One verse that I've come back to again and again this year is in Revelation chapter 3, verse 8. And it's Jesus speaking to His church, and I want to read that for us. Revelation 3:8 says, I know your works, Jesus says, and behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word, and you have not denied my name. I'm so encouraged personally, and I'm encouraged for our church by these words of Jesus, that Jesus sees you. He knows everything about you. And though it can feel like we have so little power, though it can feel like the challenges are so big and our own impact is so small, Jesus sees us. And as we hold on to Him, as we choose not to deny His name, we are holding on to the one who has authority over all of heaven and all of earth. And Jesus' promise as we head into yet another year is the same. There is an open door for us that no one can shut. As we head into this year, as we look for that open door that Jesus has given us, we'll do the same thing we've done every year. We always take some time and really answer some questions, and we've provided those questions for you. Answer some simple questions that help give us footing and help give us direction for all that God has for us this next year, for words that He's calling us to hold on to, for promises and goals that He wants us to run after. I hope you'll take time this year to answer those questions again and to believe God for that open door that he has in 2021. Mosaic, I'm praying for you. I love you, and I'm with you, believing that God has an open door for us in 2021.